Radio Split Ranch.
Hello and welcome once again to Radio Split Ranch, a monthly visit with the Capital Region's great broadcasters of the past and sometimes present. I'm Warren Garling when I'm not on the radio. Once again this month, I sat down with a longtime veteran of regional radio whose history you'd think I'd know more about. I mean, we crossed paths at some of the same radio stations, but don't actually recall meeting at any of those stations. That can happen when one jock works a full-time shift 6 days a week and another does just 4 hours a week like I did from 1988 to 2020. Sit back and enjoy once again one of the great voices of the great Northeast, Richie Norris. Well, I've had lunch with this guy a few times, but I really don't know a lot about him. And I'm looking right at him, which is very unusual for the way I've been doing my podcast lately. Richie Norris, thanks for coming to the Radio Split Ranch.
Thank you, Warren. Thanks for having me. This is a real treat.
It's my pleasure, and I need to know everything Richie today. So we'll just have some fun with this. Okay,
sounds good.
All right. Now, are you a local boy?
Yeah, I'm born and raised in Schenectady.
Okay.
Went to Mount Pleasant High School, class of 84.
Wow.
Yeah. So just lived here my entire life. And family's from here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's really not much more to tell about that.
I read somewhere that the average American evidently dies within 50 miles of where they were born.
Oh, okay.
So it's not unusual to spend sometimes your whole life here.
Exactly.
I mean, I moved away a couple of times and still wound up back here,
Right.
Born in the old St. Clair's Hospital.
Yeah. Okay. I believe it was either St. Clair's or Bellevue. Either one of those. So,
yeah.
Right.
So growing up, you went to Mount Pleasant, as you mentioned, and where did you get your interest in broadcasting?
Actually, from an early age, I want to say the bug bit me maybe around 9.
Okay.
So we're talking like 1975,
okay.
76.
All right.
I just remember growing up, my parents always listened to either was WPTR or WTRY.
TRY,
so I remember
right.
J.W. Wagner, Boom Boom Brannigan.
Yeah.
And my mom's family is from New Jersey, Lodi, Clifton.
Okay.
So we would go down there in the summertime, and that was the first time I would say probably it was the summer of 76 was the first time I heard WABC. And for some reason, I don't know what it was about it. I was just hooked. I'm like, this is what I want to do.
Wow.
And just the way the station sounded, the reverb, I'm like, this is cool. I'm like, I want to do this.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah. So, as the years went on, I mean, radio, no matter what time of the day, I always had a radio with me.
Yeah.
Listen to TRY, PTR.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, 3WD, the old WSNY, had signed on in 1976. So I had listened to them a lot. And just the need to want to be on the radio just grew and grew. So about, I would say, 1979, 1980, I was in junior high.
Okay.
WPTR was doing a radiothon.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad said, come on, we'll get in the car, go for a ride. Well, I had no idea where we were going to go because they were, giving tours of the station.
But he knew of your interest.
Yeah. So when we pulled up, I mean, my eyes just got big and I was just like, oh my God, this is incredible. So I went in and got a tour of the station, got to meet, a lot of the jocks on the air and things like that. So that was, again, you're creating a monster.
Yes, exactly. Now, did your parents, like mine, didn't look into what radio pays?
No, not at all.
They were so supportive of me from the start. I found it at 11.
Right.
And I'm in it by 16, but had no idea that in small and medium market radio, you're probably not going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, my parents had no idea.
They're
just like, this is cool. This is what he wants to do. I had a little makeshift radio station upstairs in my bedroom.
There you go. Mine was in the basement.
So a couple of turntables and, things like that, making tapes.
Yeah.
And finally, it was early 1983. I got the guts up.
Okay.
And called up Michael Plath, who was Michael J. Raymond.
Yes.
He was doing, I think, afternoons at 3WD. And I said, hey, look, this is something I'm really interested in. Is there any way I can just hang out, whatever. He's like, well, let me talk to management and blah, blah, blah. And we'll see. I'm like, okay. So he came back to me, said, yeah, you can start coming down. I go down maybe once a week.
Yeah.
And just, watch him on the air.
Sure.
Shortly thereafter, he said, hey, I used to teach a course at the college, whatever, X amount of dollars. He said, if you want to take it. I'm like, yeah, this would be great. Because my plans were I was going to go to the New School of Radio.
Yeah, sure. Contemporary radio, yeah.
Yeah. This was early 83. I would go down there, took the course, got my license. And then it was just on and off, maybe a couple of times during the summer, run the board for the Yankee games.
Yeah. So you got some hands-on as well.
Yeah.
Well, the crazy thing is, and they're at 1240, right? It was 3WD.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I started at SNY in ninth grade. They had an internship that you go down once a week in the afternoon. And it was only supposed to last a few weeks. And I just kept going after it evidently ended. Like at the end of the school year, I just kept going until they finally kicked me out when they changed formats. They said, can't hang around here anymore, kid, But I did the same thing at the same frequency. Isn't that wild?
Yeah. And luckily, I feel lucky because I feel like I'm one of the last handful of people who learned that way. Got to hang out at the local station.
Yeah.
Do odds and ends, run the board.
Yeah.
So I did that for a little bit during the summer. And then my first, I guess you want to say actual paying job was at TRY.
Really?
Yeah, I was actually just board hopping. I think it was, at that point, American Top 40 or Dick Clark's National Music Survey.
Well, yeah.
And got to go on the air twice an hour and do the weather forecast.
Okay.
I was scared. I was scared. So I learned how to record onto a cart. And I would go in and record the weather forecast, put that on the cart, and just play that.
Okay, yeah.
So that lasted maybe about a month, and then went back to 3WD, and went back to, board hopping, doing the ethnic shows.
I did those too.
Yeah, exactly. The Polish show, the Italian show.
Yep, absolutely. They were still doing that?
Yeah.
Wow, in the 80s.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Oh, yeah. I think they had an Irish show that we used to run.
Wow.
Yeah. Then early 1984, I want to say February or March, I'm at home watching TV and Mike Plath calls me. He said, what are you doing? I said, oh, I'm just watching a movie. He goes, how do you feel about going on the air tonight? I'm like, okay. The girl I was doing, I think the shift was 8 to 1, couldn't make it in.
Okay.
So get in the car, go down there. So, of course, nervous,
Sure.
But it was cool. It was just, it was very cool. I think I was on for a couple of nights in a row. And then sometime, early 84. So that was the year I graduated. Right before, after I graduated in June of 84.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me the weekend overnights.
Wow.
Yeah. So
nice.
Late Saturday night, Sunday morning.
Sure.
That. So this is great, and continue to do that until February of 85.
Okay.
When they asked me if I wanted to do all nights full time.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Not too shabby, but it sounds very similar to a lot of other folks. The only thing that changed over the years, I think, and you alluded to it, is that all of a sudden there was a school that you could go to learn how to get into the business, which you had considered.
Exactly.
But you're right, and today there's no such thing. I mean, first of all, the school's gone, but now there's no place to break in, if you will. There's no overnight shift.
Exactly.
It's all voice tracked by people in other markets, so it's a really different industry from the time that you got into it.
Yeah, exactly. So it was great. Here I am, 17 years old, just out of high school.
Yeah.
Full-time radio gig. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I had a great time. I mean, learned a lot when I was there. After that, I think I stayed till December of 86. And I'm like, I'm kind of tired of working all night.
It does a number on your social life for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So I left 3WD, started to send out some tapes. One of the stations was WTRY. John Gabriel was the PD at the time.
Okay, so about when was this?
That would have been, I think I started February of 86. 87.
Okay.
Yeah, because I left
all right.
3WD in December of 86 and then in February of 87.
Well, that's wild because I got there part-time on Saturday mornings in 88.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, back down in the old bunker. Yeah.
Gabe had called and he said, look, the only thing we got going on right now, he goes, weekend overnights, or no, it was Sunday night into Monday morning. They were still running Larry King.
Okay.
And then I got to go on the air for a half hour, 5:30 to 6.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. I'll do it. Still young and everything, living at home. And it was great. I mean, I had met Rick Mitchell, and I'm a radio geek.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, wow, I get to meet somebody I grew up listening to.
Exactly.
So I stayed there. Then eventually I started doing weekend overnights. And I think not too long after I got hired is when we brought Uncle Fred Horton in.
Yes, yeah.
He took over as program director, and then they were slowly starting to phase out because I think at that time TRY was music right up until maybe about 6 o'clock at night. And then they had some talk shows from the Mutual Network they were running.
All right.
So eventually those started to phase. Eventually we got rid of those altogether. So Fred said to me, he goes, would you like to do 7 to midnight? I'm like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
Another station I grew up listening to.
Sure. Oh, gosh.
Working with people I work with, Boogie Bob O'Neill.
Yeah.
At that point became Captain Bob. So I grew up listening to him.
Right.
So that was sometime, I would say maybe mid 87.
Okay.
And then I had stayed there through June of 88.
Okay. All right. So we probably just barely missed each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because I came in and in that summer, Fred left. He'd only been there a couple of years. Yeah.
Because Fred was still there when I left. I had gotten word that the people that owned 3WD had purchased, what was it, 96.7 at the time?
I believe so, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so it was a satellite network top 40 format, and they were looking to go live.
Okay.
So sent a tape over, had an interview, and they're like, okay, again, would you like to do 7 to midnight? I'm like, of course, Like, well, my first time on FM, this is wild, and top 40, which I was, grew up listening to, big fan of the format.
Right.
Ended up working with program director at the time, Banana Joe Montione. Joe, I said to him, where'd you work before and things like that? He goes, oh, yeah, I worked at WFIL in Philadelphia.
Ooh.
KHJ in Los Angeles.
My goodness.
I was like, my mouth dropped. I'm
like,
sure.
God,
this is great. He actually replaced George Michael at WFIL.
Wow.
George Michael went on to WABC.
Yeah.
Wow, this is wild.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
you're rubbing elbows here.
Yeah, exactly. And again, radio geek, I'm like, this is awesome. And again, it was kind of a short-lived stint at KZ. I started out doing 7 to midnight and then moved into middays.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, it's not bad. I'm like more of a high energy type DJ, so I kind of had to tone down a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And I think they were starting to take the station in a little more of a rock direction. So they had other plans. And unfortunately, they let me go. That was the first time I ever lost a job.
Okay, yeah. And now, so you're talking, you've been in the business maybe 4 or 5 years by this time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I got to 17, believe it or not, before I ever got fired. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Well, and 10 of them were with GNA. I was there when they signed on.
Right.
I went away, came back, and, but yeah, you haven't been in the business until you're all of a sudden fired from the business.
Yeah. I was totally crushed. I was like, oh my God,
sure,
this is the first time.
Now, were you using your real name this whole time?
Yes.
Or were there some other?
Yeah, no, I used, I was using my real name the entire time.
Okay, cool.
And then speaking of real names, name changes, I had gotten a call from Rob Dawes. Rob, who had worked many years, PDF Fly, I think it was a QBK.
I think so, yep.
Yeah, he was doing 7 to midnight at what was then 102 WQ in Saratoga, WQQY.
Okay.
And he said, hey, listen, we're looking for an overnight guy. I'm like, okay. So got my tape together and went up and had an interview with Ken Benson, who was the PD at the time. Okay, great. You want to start? Okay, great. So Ken said to me, he goes, did you ever consider changing your name? I'm like, not really. He goes, with the last name Norris, he goes, how about Captain Chuck Norris? I was like, and then reluctantly said, okay. So of course all the jokes, like I called everything from Captain Crunch to Captain Upchuck.
Yeah.
So it was funny. It was fine.
That's
so
fun.
After a while, I decided I wanted to go back to my real name.
Okay.
So I was at Double Q for maybe year and a half and left. I think at that point was the first time I got a job at WGNA. Because by that point, Fred was already at GNA.
Sure.
So, and I'm again thinking to myself, always wanted to be a gung-ho top 40 jock. I'm like, country music. I'm like,
yeah. See, I knew nothing about it.
Yeah.
When I actually got the job at GNA, or applied for the job when it was HAZ before they brought GNA to the air. Okay. I knew this FM station was coming. I didn't know they'd already chosen a format.
Yeah.
So I go into it blindly. I'm working at this semi-country, semi-religious, station, HAZ, doing news and doing a little bit of jock work. And I know nothing about, country music. Then I hear that's what GNA is going to be.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm going to learn,
Exactly.
Yeah. So did you bite the bullet? And
yeah. Fred was, come on, looking for part-time. So I think I was doing Sunday afternoon at the time. But he said to me, I would like you to use a different name. Because when we were at TRY together, Richie Phillips was on with Fred.
Right.
And people were getting confused.
Yeah.
Richie was on in the morning with actually, I think he started in the afternoon with Bob O'Neill.
Okay.
And then went to mornings with Fred. People were kind of confused.
Two Richies.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm like, Fred, that's not a problem. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, what name can I use? Then it hit me. So the classic George Carlin, Wonderful Wino, Weird Willie West.
Oh, geez. Now I remember you.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'll
with
just
a name
change
like that.
Weird to Wild and became Wild Willie West.
Okay.
It was great because, you incorporated it. I had to howl. Any time checks were wild time.
Nice.
It was a lot of fun.
You
Very
had a ball
high
with
energy.
Country 107.7, WGNA FM and AM, Albany's Schenectady Troll.
Good evening, Wild time. Almost 8 o'clock. Hello, it's Wild. Willie West on the radio station with the most fun and the most continuous music. Here's another 13 in a row, back-to-back by request.
The Saturday Night Country Club. Wild Willie West. 107.7, WTRY FM.
Wild Willie.
The Saturday Night Country Club. WGNA FM.
Hi, can I request a song?
Yeah, what would you like to hear?
I would love to hear Shut Up and Kiss Me by Mary Chapin Carpenter.
Barry Mary, yes. Who's this?
This is Selena.
Where are you calling from tonight?
I'm calling from Stewart to Mayfield.
Ah, working.
Yep.
All right, what's your favorite radio station?
WGNA.
I wasn't there that long because at that point, GFM changed to Oldies 99.5.
Yes. Yep.
WTRY.
I went and worked there after my TRY stint in 92. I wound up over there.
Yeah, I remember there. Yeah.
Yep.
So I had applied there and was doing Saturday and Sunday night, 6 to midnight. One of the jocks that they had on left over from the Electric 99
days. Yeah.
He was doing overnight, and they decided, we're just going to let him go. He wasn't working out.
Yeah.
So then the PD, Kelly Carls at the time, said again, would you like to do overnight? I'm like, okay, sure.
My gosh. So we actually did work at the same station at the same time, and I just don't remember any of that. Of course, I was only on 4 hours on a Saturday morning.
Right.
And so I just don't remember. I really don't remember what the rest of the day was like.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember Kelly Carls hired me, so I remember him.
Yeah.
It's very hard for me to remember anybody else I worked with. Jimmy Nichols, who went by Jimmy Barnett on the radio as well. He was there for a while, kind of followed me over there part-time.
Yeah.
So he was on midday Saturday after I was done.
Okay.
And those are I can't remember anybody else. Who else was there at the time? Do you remember?
Tom Parker was there, who had been there for years.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yes.
Boy, who else? I'm trying to think. They brought in Tom Maley to do mornings.
That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
I do remember that. Yes, that's when Tom and I first met. Yeah.
Marty Brandon was there. I worked with him at TRY.
I remember the name. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Marty
I can't
was doing
put a face
6
to
to
it.
midnight when they hired me.
Okay.
Overnight.
All right.
And then again, just it lasted maybe about a year and a half. And Kelly was like, look, unfortunately, we're going to take it in a different direction. So to save some money, they just hired somebody to press buttons all night.
Yeah.
They were live on the weekend overnights, but during the week, just hired a kid to press buttons all night. So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So again, pick up the phone, call Fred at GNA. Fred was great. He always, whatever, made room for me anywhere.
That's
anytime.
nice.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So I went back to GNA. That was about 92. Again, went back to doing weekends, fill in. Brother Lou was actually doing, we called it the Saturday Night Country Club.
Okay.
Was dedications.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think they moved Louie into evenings. And then I took over for Lou on Saturday night.
Okay.
Doing the country club. Again, a lot of fun,
Yeah.
request dedications. Filled in on basically every shift except mornings. Filled in as production when the production director was out on vacation.
Yeah.
So they said, hey, look, why don't we're going to create a position kind of like full-time, part-time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, okay, great. I mean, the only downfall was I was with the station doing something like basically 7 days a week.
Uh-huh.
I would do traffic morning and afternoon. We either fill in for somebody during the week if they were on vacation, plus my show was on the weekend.
Yeah.
It was all right. And then stayed there for about 3.5 years.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, and just decided, I don't know, maybe time for something a little different. Got on the radio for a while.
Did you?
Yeah, ended up getting, worked at a couple of different places. I had moved up to Johnstown for a while. And, I was like, I'm kind of starting to get the bug. This was early 2000s.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting together a guy by the name of Mike Sleazer, who runs a low-power TV station on Gloversville. He eventually got the license for an AM station, 1440 WFNY are the call letters. I do like Saturday mornings. Did that for a while. A lot of fun. Left and eventually called up Jay Scott at Magic. At the time, we were on 100.9 WKLI.
Mm-hmm.
Said, hey, looking to do some just part-time stuff, full-time job, So we started talking. Actually, the initial call was because I am also a what they call a jingle geek.
Okay.
So I have a massive collection of radio station jingles from stations all over the place. And I said to Jay, I'm like, hey, any chance I can make copies of the dubs? Yeah, come on over. Let me borrow the CDs. And then we got to talking. And then, I said, well, if you're looking for somebody, let me know. And, again, started doing weekends there. Sunday afternoon. Then that led to Saturday night, doing an oldies show. Saturday and Sunday, again, filled in for anybody and everybody. It was the longest radio job I ever had, 13 years.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Rockin' Richie.
Richie Norris, 590 AM, Magic 590 AM.
Magic 590 plays more solid rock. Jukebox Saturday night from Music Radio Magic 590. Looking forward to seeing these guys this summer when they go on tour with the Doobie Brothers. They're going to be stopping by SPAC here in Chicago. Feeling stronger every day on the mighty Magic 590. Magic 590 remembers 1967.
Music explosion.
13 years. And then when COVID hit, everybody was just, they didn't want a lot of people in the building.
Yep.
So especially the part-time people, keep out of the building. And that was, so we're talking, when was that?
2020.
Yeah. So
Yep.
by June of that year, still nobody knew what was going on.
Yeah.
So I decided, I said, that's it. I'm just going to resign. I mean, it's been fun. That's it. So, and then,
we almost worked together again then.
Oh,
because
that's right. Yes.
In 2020, when No Heart, let me go, I got in touch with Jay Scott.
Yeah.
And I was working, I had all the paperwork and everything, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And so everything got put on hold. And then during the COVID time, he actually left there. And so, and they really didn't have a position anyway. And so the fact that, COVID had hit and everybody was broadcasting from their home
exactly
for a while and that sort of thing. Yeah. So, and that's, I decided when it didn't work out to go back, even just part-time, I decided, I guess I'm done. And it's been fine. I found pretend radio, which is what we're doing right now.
Exactly.
Podcasting.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah.
And you're still doing some stuff. So,
After I left Magic, it was probably sometime in 2021.
Yeah.
A guy that I had met through radio jingles, Matt Seinberg, who runs an aircheck site, Big Apple Aircheck Center in New York City, had reached out. He said, hey, I got a friend of mine, Steve West. Steve also runs airchecks.com. He said, he's got an internet station. Would you be interested in doing a couple hours? Yeah, okay, well, this is cool. So I'm like, I already had the equipment at home, and it was very basic. Nice. It was just microphone, little box plug in, and it was voice tracking. I mean, I could log into the system and voice track, and I did that for a while, and then eventually Steve said, hey, we're looking to get more guys on the air. Would you like to do afternoons? And I'm like, yeah, okay. So I've been doing Monday through Saturday, 2 to 6 in the afternoon for probably a couple of years now.
Wow.
Richie. Yeah. Show is getting hot. Linda Ronstadt on Music Radio. Hit oldies. Music Radio. Hit oldies. Playing a better blend of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond, along with summer's big hits. Paul McCartney, age 81, still rocking. On the upcoming Rolling Stones new album, played bass on one of the tracks. Also, the former Beatles got a brand new podcast coming out next month. Got a debut on September 20th. Be on the lookout for that. All right, go ahead. Take it away, Sir Paul, on Music Radio. Hit oldies.
It's great. Who'd ever you think that you could do this from home?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I was actually thinking about doing a podcast during it was probably about 2015 or so.
Yeah.
I started talking to Lou Roberts about it. I said, wouldn't it be fun to do a podcast interviewing the jocks from the area, especially the guys, the veterans, and kind of get their take on the industry and how it grew over the years and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we never really got a chance to put it together. When I left in 2020, that's when I thought, maybe I'm going to pursue this. So I started looking into equipment. You can see it doesn't take much.
No.
And started doing, this radio split ranch.
Yeah.
And I heard from My Sci in Schenectady, and they were interested in archiving these so that when somebody 20 years from now wants to learn about terrestrial radio, which who knows if it'll be around in 20 years, they'll have a place to go. They'll be able to listen to these podcasts and know the history of this area's radio from the people that lived it, the people that did it, which is why you got the invite, because
thank you.
I mean, you've been doing it for over 40 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's been a long time. I know it's true. I guess they say once it's in your blood, it never.
And that's it. It's a passion. It certainly is a passion.
Exactly.
Because as you know, sometimes you needed that job on the side. You needed to do record hops or something. In order to make the reason I wound up at the new school for about 5 years was that we had just bought a house and I needed something on the side to continue paying the bills and keep the roof over our heads. And Tom Brownlee provided that for me, which was very nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's I mean, I've definitely had a lot of fun. Worked with a lot of great people.
Yeah, the names you've mentioned are just terrific folks that everybody remembers in this area.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I've been pretty fortunate to do the kind of radio I like to do. Which, I guess it's just growing up, mid 70s. I still remember that big 70s top 40 sound.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that's never went away. To me, when I'm on the air, no matter how big or small the station is, I've always wanted to make everything sound larger than life.
Exactly. Well, that's what grabbed me about the business when I went to my first station at the age of 11. Is I hadn't listened to that particular station. It was WBNR in Newburgh. We were living in Walden at the time. And a friend of mine, of our family, takes me to see what he does on Saturday mornings. He was an Air Force recruiter, and he did a 15-minute recruiting show for the Air Force. He was based at Stewart Air Base at the time. Anyway, we walk into this shack at the transmitter site, and I look at this friend of mine, Harry. I said, Harry, are you sure we're in the right place? I said, this is what I'm hearing on the, and so you walk in and you see the equipment, which immediately the bells and the whistles and the dials and the buttons and the lights, grabbed me as an 11-year-old. And all of a sudden I didn't want to be Roy Rogers anymore. I wanted to be on the radio.
It was, for me, it was just much more than listening to the music.
Yes.
And it was small things, again, like I said, with WABC, the reverb.
Mm-hmm.
If I heard a certain jingle, I would listen to the radio to hear that jingle again. That's probably, I don't know how I got so wrapped up in jingles, but luckily a lot of the jingles throughout the years, like a lot of the Pam stuff and Jam, I've been able to obtain in my collection, which is
nice.
Great. A lot of even a lot of the station jingles from every place I worked at.
3WD. WTRY. KZ 96.7. The best music, 102 WQ. All these all the time. All these 99.5. Country 107.7. WGNA FM.
Magic 590, and now available at 100.5 FM.
Magic 590. Music radio. Hit oldies.
Just small things like that, the way the station sounded, the audio chain,
Mm-hmm.
the reverb, to me, that was just like, man, these guys sound, it just feels like you're in a big room.
Yeah. We went through a time at TRY that I actually got a call from Gabe. He called me up one day. I was doing Saturday mornings, and he said, you're going to notice a little tweak in the reverb when you come in on Saturday. I said, and you thought you needed to warn me? He says, yeah, when you hear it in your headphones, you're going to go nuts. And I did. I think I was caught not unawares, but so surprised, even though I knew it was going to happen, that I actually said it out loud, when I was doing a break. I said, oh my goodness, that sounds interesting or something. I wish I had the air check, but
when I worked at 102 WQ in Saratoga, we had reverb.
Okay.
So that was the first time listening in my headphones. Mm-hmm. And when you crack open the mic and you start to talk, like you said, you're like, oh my, it's like, man,
It was cool. I would hate to try to count how many people have been influenced by WABC in New York in this business. I mean, I was like I said, in Walden, New York as an 11 and 12-year-old, and I started picking up, the signals from New York City and listening to Cousin Brucey and what's his nose?
Dan Ingram.
Ingram, absolutely. And those voices stuck with me.
Like I said, from when I went down to New Jersey, and then my mom would set the car radio on WABC.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I got home and then you discovered, again, here we are in the 70s, just flipping around at night. All of a sudden, I remember that the first time WLS in Chicago came booming.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, just always tune around the AM dial.
I
out of Buffalo.
Mm-hmm. I remember babysitting one night as a teenager, and my folks had gone. It was New Year's Eve, so my folks had gone out, and midnight had come and gone here. And I thought, ooh, I can hear it happen again at 1:00 in Chicago.
Yes.
So I tune in LS, and I'm listening to New Year's again an hour later. And that's when I think I picked up the phone and called the house where my parents were, saying, I've already gone through 2 New Years. You have to come home now. I want to go to bed. I had 5 younger brothers and sisters. But so it was just crazy memories of doing that.
Oh yeah. Just a lot of good times. I mean, so much good radio and so many great DJs on the air back then.
Yeah. And I used to joke with my parents that they should have bought stock in 9-volt batteries, because I would fall asleep listening to the radio under my pillow.
Exactly.
And forget to turn it off before I went to sleep.
Tape recorder out, recording the radio station.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah.
It was great
memories. You're certainly part of the gang. Yeah, we all have these great memories of wanting to do this. And the longer I was on, the more I realized what the real fun I was getting out of it was making people smile, making people laugh.
So true. Yeah.
And so I when I was on GNA, we had some nicknames, and I was Crazy Chris Warren. Now, I wasn't crazy,
right.
but I, things would come out of my mouth now and again that, and perhaps I could have just kept to myself, but they just came out and I let them go, and when you're live, that's pretty much what happens.
Exactly. It's just, again, I mean, the one interesting thing I found out was, the more I started working with a lot of the jocks like Lou and Gabe, again, it was the same thing with them, hanging out at the radio station.
Yeah.
This is how I learned. And I'm like, oh, wow, so it's, it was like, wow, I'm not the only unique one.
No. Once it got in our blood, that was it. And I remember the first time I walked through the door at TRY when they were in the bunker.
Yes.
Somebody had brought the sign from downtown Troy when they were in the Proctor's building in Troy, and had put the sign above the door about some of the greatest talent on radio have walked through these doors, something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that and realizing, well, this is where I've always wanted to be. It was on TRY because I grew up listening to it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I shot for. And to be there even just part-time, in 1988 of all things, I was there. I'd arrived.
Yeah. That was the same way with me. It was, of course, listening to PTR, TRY. I'm like, two of the places I went to work at. And eventually PTR was, I think, country, and then went talk.
Yeah.
And then the opportunity to get to work at TRY.
Sure.
And just, again, it's just like, wow, I can't believe I'm here.
Yeah.
I remember, I think, one point when Fred was programming, I believe we were one of the top 10 oldie stations in America. I think the number one AM oldie station.
Wow.
And again, for that time,
sure,
the 80s.
Yeah.
But,
saying a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Richie, this has been a kick.
I've had a great time.
Really didn't know a lot about all the different stops you made,
Yeah, it's a lot of stations, short stops, but always fun along the way.
Yeah. Well, I left radio full-time after, when I got fired, my wife said something like, there's probably something else you can do with your life. And I looked at her like she had two heads.
Exactly.
I said, but it's true. I went into a whole second career. If you look around here, there's stuff from three different careers here, and yet radio I just couldn't stay away from. After being out of it for about a year and a half, that's when I said, to her, I said, how about if I just did Saturday mornings? Then our weekend will start at 10 o'clock, on a Saturday. And she acquiesced. She said, that's fine. I know how much you love it.
Yeah.
And I did that for another 35 years.
Yeah. And that's, just to do a part-time is enough.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's
absolutely. Well, congrats on a super career and continued success. Now, where do we find you when we want to listen to you on the internet?
So it's hitoldies.com.
Okay.
Again, Monday through Saturday, 2 to 6. So it's classic hits.
Yeah.
60s, 70s, 80s,
cool.
90s.
Yeah.
So, again, a lot of fun. And we're working on the website right now. Actually, it's live365.com. Then type in Hit Oldies Classic Hits.
Okay.
They're working on the website, getting a new website. So, but eventually it'll be hitoldies.com.
Nice.
So
there's still a home for old folks like us.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like Brother Lou and I used to joke around. He said, there will be like 80 and still screaming on the air, which is true.
Well, he's still doing it.
Yeah.
And I can't keep up with how many different stations he's on, but he's still doing it,
Definitely.
Yeah, good for him.
Yes.
Thanks again for coming in, sir.
Thank you for having me. This has been a thrill. I appreciate it.
Radio Split Ranch.
Believe me, Richie, the pleasure has been all ours. Thanks for all the great entertainment you've provided us since your early Schenectady days, and for the great jingle collection you've amassed. Along those lines, for the real diehard radio and jingle buffs in the audience, and I know there are at least a couple, we're going to wrap up this month's Radio Wrap, as we always do, with an air check of yours truly as Chris Warren on one of the stations both Richie and I set our sights on when we were just kids, really, WTRY. The fun part about this air check from February of 1989 is that even though we had a jingle package identifying us as the oldies station, someone was smart enough to have us mix in some of the classic WTRY jingles from the great 98 days of the 1960s. Hope you enjoyed enough to join us again next month. In the meantime, don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
Chris Warren, WTRY, the oldies station.
Good morning, 4 minutes after 6 o'clock, 9 degrees, a mostly sunny, breezy, and cold day expected today, high only 22. Glad to have you on a Saturday morning with Chris and the Beatles to start us out. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. From Great 98 WTRY, the oldies station, 11 minutes after 6 o'clock. Are you a Saturday morning underway? 9 degrees. Expect a mostly sunny, breezy, cold one today and a high around 22. I'm Chris Warren. I said. Here's Neil Diamond, 1971. On the oldies station, 98 WTRY. It is fun. All oldies, all the time, on 98 WTRY, 617 with the Righteous Brothers. 98 WTRY, come on, stay. I've been saying that to Joe Mazuka for the last 21 minutes. He still wants to go home and go to bed. I don't know why. How long you been doing this thing? Since what time? 11 o'clock? 11 o'clock last night. He doesn't want to stay and listen to the Chris Warren show. I'll tell you, that's gratitude for you. I come in here and relieve him so he doesn't have to do 4 more hours, and he leaves on me. 98 WTRY, Chris in your ear till 10 o'clock this morning. Glad to have you along. John Gabriel's got Solid Gold Hump Day coming up this Wednesday, by the way. Our weekly all-request oldies show. You know how it works. You get set to call in, request your favorite oldie just after 10 o'clock this Wednesday morning. And this week, the Hump Day Request Show spotlights the all-time great hits of Buddy Holly. All that great music that Paul McCartney now owns. That's Solid Gold Hump Day with John Gabriel and the all-request oldies horse Wednesday morning beginning at 10 if he spits it out right at the oldie station 98 WTRY.
I wonder how...
The WTRY Weather Watch forecast, according to TV 13, meteorologist Bob Kovacic, and you didn't think he got up early on Saturdays. Mostly sunny, breezy, cold today. High of 27. It's 9 degrees at Weather Watch 98 WTRY. WTRY. 98 WTRY, 629, a Saturday morning. You're with Chris and little Peggy March. 98 WTRY, Sam Cooke from 57, and You Send Me. Of course, you're more expensive if I do it in one-day mail. It's 6:34. Before that, we heard some music from Little Peggy March, not to be confused with Don January, April Stevens, Mae West, or June Cleaver. And 98 WTRY with this Wednesday, John Gabriel presents... it's the Fender Bender Oldies Party. That's what I want to talk about from 8 till 11 with John Gabriel spinning your favorite dancing oldies. Plus, you'll have a chance to register to win dinner for 2 at the Turf House Grill. No purchase necessary for that drawing. It's the WTRY Fender Bender Oldies Party. It does happen this Wednesday night, 8 to 11 at Fender's Oldies Club. That's inside the Holiday Inn Turf on Wolf Road in Colony. We'll see you there, right? Right.
Hi, this is Yakov Smirnov for Best Western. Your little boy.
Every song has a memory on the Oldies Station, 98 WTRY. Let's stay together. Here's Al Green, 17 shy of 7 on a Saturday with Chris. The Oldies Station, 98 WTRY, 1972, Elvis and Burnin' Love. And he told me at dinner last night he's really getting tired of all these rumors he's still alive, so cut it out. 9:30 before 7 o'clock, before the King. Of course, we had Al Green. Not to be confused with Mean Joe Green, Joel Gray, Red Buttons, or the Lavender Hill Mob. How are you on this Saturday morning? I gotta stop doing those. Get rid of that stuff. It's Chris on the radio till 10 o'clock this morning, or until these jokes really do catch up with me. We're going to check out the highlight in today's history. This is Today in History. Comes over the news wire all the time. I like to look through these things because you can learn things from this. Like on this date, February 25th, 1913, the 16th Amendment to the United States Constitution was passed, giving Congress the power to levy and collect income taxes. started on this date, yes, in 1913. But George Bush, the president, yes, says to read his lips, no new taxes. And I saw Mark Russell at Proctor's a couple of weeks ago, and he says, read his lips, they're going to raise the old one.
When you're an undercover cop.
Then a little walk goes a long way.
The WTRY Weather Watch forecast. According to TV13 meteorologist Bob Kibachik, say his name right, he could be listening. Mostly sunny, breezy, currently it's 8 degrees as we slip one at the Weather Watch 98.
WTRY, the oldie station.
98. WTRY, the oldie station. With Chad and Jeremy. Willow, weep for me. 3.5 before 7 o'clock. Lieutenant has news coming up at 7 this morning. And if you're looking for something to do this weekend, which you must be, or you wouldn't be listening to the Chris Warren Show, this whole weekend, today and tomorrow, that's a whole weekend, February 25th and 26th, is the Motorsports World 89 Motorsports and Car Show, which doesn't fit all on one sign, at the New Scotland Avenue Armory. So you can check that out. There's also a Rotary Home Show going out up in Saratoga Springs at the City Center, 522 Broadway in the Spa City. So you can check that out. That happens right on through the rest of today. All that stuff going on. And all you have to do for more information on any of that stuff is give us a call here, 476-WTRY, where tonight at 7, it's the original Rock and Roll Oldie Show with Dick Bartley. The original Rock and Roll Oldie Station presents it to you right here, 98 WTRY with Attempting Temptation. Yeah, all right. Woo! Hey, everybody yell, hey.
Hold it. WTRY for the Capital District.
WTRY, the oldie station.
Okay, we're going to do-lang now. Here are the chiffons to get us started in the 7 o'clock hour. The original oldie station, 98 WTRY, Sam and Dave, 1966. Hold on, I'm coming. 11 minutes after 7 o'clock, Saturday morning. And you're with Chris, 8 degrees. Yes, it had gone down last hour, 8 degrees on the outside, and some sunshine as it dawns. And I'm just looking out the window, and does anybody know that we're missing an R from the WTRY on the side of our van? Does anybody realize? I hope they don't take that out that way. You know, I mean, that could be very confusing. We are the oldie station. We are WTRY. We're glad to have you along on this Saturday morning. My name is Chris Warren, and we don't admit that to just anybody. And we're still checking out these dates in history because I'm a history buff. I enjoy being able, and maybe it helps me when I play trivia. I don't know. But in 1570, in this date, Pope Pius V excommunicated England's Queen Elizabeth I. I believe he took away her AT&T calling card. I think that's how.
Hello, this is Benita Zahn.
Every song has a memory on the oldie station, 98 WTRY. 98 WTRY, the oldie station. Building that stairway to heaven, Neil Sedaka. Taking us back to 1960. Before that, of course, the Beatles from 64. And Please, Please Me. Thank you for being here this morning. It's Saturday morning with Chris. We are at about 21 minutes after 7 o'clock. Glad to have you as a part of our get-together today. We hope you'll be with us again next week, of course. But tomorrow night, Sunday night, you can tune into 98 WTRY at 7 o'clock. It's called Super Gold with Mike Harvey, and it's right here on the original rock and roll oldie station, 98 WTRY. Well, we still got a lot of good music coming up this hour, including music from Del Shannon, Creedence Clearwater, Neil Diamond, Bread, and up next, we've got some music from Cat Stevens on that Peace Train.
It could only happen. I, on the other hand, I'm not.
Well, thank you, Dick. You know, my show's getting very popular when you got people like Dick Cavett on it. Not bad, huh? 24 minutes after 7 o'clock, the WTRY weather was 7. And in honor of the Federal Reserve Board raising the prime lending rate to 7% yesterday, it is now 7 degrees on the outside.
The oldie station, WTRY.
98 WTRY with Cat Stevens. Come on, everybody, let's hop on the Peace Train before the Ayatollah hijacks it here. Go back to 1971 with Cat at 28 minutes after 7. 7:28, we're 2 from Lou. Lieutenant News at 7:30. First, we're going to tell you all about the birds and the bees in 2 minutes and 5 seconds.
Let me tell you. This is Lieutenant for Newswatch 98, a service of WTRY for the Capital District.
WTRY, the oldie station.
Good morning. Sunshine on the outside, Chris inside, nice and warm, having a good time. 24 before 8 o'clock. My voice sounds a little high this morning. I've got a new pair of jeans on there, a little tight. Now, don't get me wrong, I like tight jeans. Just not on me. 98 WTRY, the original oldie station with Spiral Staircase, their one and only hit from 1969, and more today than yesterday. That's how you explain my sanity, I guess. 21, or lack thereof, 21 shy of 8 o'clock, Saturday morning with Chris. We've run into a little bit of a problem. We need your help here, all right? And we always turn to our listeners when we have a minor problem here on the air. As you've heard, we have a new news intro, which really sounds good. The thing that gets us into the newscast really sounds nice. The problem is they forgot to make one for us for 9:30 this morning. And of course, Lieutenant's going to do some headlines at 9:30, and I don't know what to do, so we're going to leave it up to you, all right? We'll take your calls, 476-WTRY, over the next couple of hours here, and the person that comes up with the best way to introduce Lieutenant News at 9:30 this morning doesn't win absolutely anything, but you'll get to hear yourself on the radio, all right? 476-WTRY, we'll have some fun here, and we'll help get Lou into the news at 9:30 this morning, and then maybe by next week they'll remember that, yes, we do have 9:30 news on Saturday mornings. I'm Chris Warren, and we've got another WTRY Gold Rush. Let's do it right now. Why not here?
WTRY's Gold Rush means more oldies back to back.
Got at least 3 in a row here. Yesterday's greatest hits are on the oldie station, 98 WTRY. 7:45 with Neil Diamond. Once again. The original oldie station, 98 WTRY. Bread, Everything I Own from 1971. One of 6 top 10 songs the group had. David Gates and Bread. 9:30 before 8 o'clock and 7 on the outside. A little chilly this morning. Sunshine looks nice, however. And you've got Chris. We're here till 10 this morning. Glad to have you along. We're looking for the 9:30 news intro for Lou Tinney. We'll be talking more about that. Give you a chance to perhaps introduce the superstar of Saturday news people coming up a little bit later on this morning. What else is going on? We're still checking dates in history here because I'm a history buff, as I mentioned. In 1793, in this date, various department heads of the U.S. government met with President George Washington at his home for the first cabinet meeting on record. And yes, as we always do, we have a recording of that event and the historic first words George said to his team.
Sometime when the team is up against it and the brakes are beating the boys, tell them to go out there with all they got and win just one for the Gipper.
I didn't know George Washington sounded like Pat O'Brien.
When you're an undercover cop.
The WTRY Weather Watch forecast. Sunshine and 7 now at 98 WTRY.
WTRY, Great 98.
Yardbirds on the oldie station, 98 WTRY, and For Your Love, 1965 was the year. Looking for something to do this weekend? We've got all the hints here for you. Here's a fun one. We did this back in high school. You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. The play will be performed today, 5 and 9 p.m., and tomorrow, 2 and 7, at the Cohoes Music Hall in Cohoes. Tickets are available at all CBOs. That stands for Community Box Office, yes. So you might want to check that out. Sounds like fun. And if you need more details on other stuff going on around the great Northeast this morning, I'm at 476 WTRY. We're also looking for the perfect news intro for 9:30 this morning and Lou Tinney News, all right? We don't have one here in the studio. They forgot to make a new one. So we want you to do the introducing. Lou Tinney, 9:30 this morning. If you got a unique way we can do that, give us a call, 476 WTRY. We'll put you on the radio this morning, and all your friends will say, I heard you.
For the Capital District.
WTRY, the oldie station.
And a good sunshiny Saturday morning to you. Put a little love in your heart this morning, all right?
Think of yourself.
The oldie station, 98 WTRY, the In Crowd with Dobie Gray, 1966. Solid Gold, 12 minutes after 8 o'clock, 8:12, a Saturday morning with Chris 7 and sunshine now as we head toward a high of 22 today. That'll do it. Yes, that's all. Got a good hour coming up. Music by the Guess Who, Beach Boys, Jackie Wilson, Beatles, Bee Gees, and I'm going to start another WTRY Gold Rush, at least 3 great oldies in a row. Next at WTRY, where we're getting together with Quaker State and looking for the longest running car in the Capital District. If you're the owner of that car, we're going to send you and a guest to Disney World in Florida. Not bad, huh? So easy to win. Just send us a postcard with your name, address, phone number, and the mileage, make, and year of your car. Mail it to WTRY, longest running car, WTRY Road, of all things, Schenectady, New York, 12309. And from all the entries we receive, we'll select the 12 highest mileage vehicles in the Capital District. These 12 owners get WTRY Quaker State jackets, and the owner of the car with the highest mileage is going to Disney World. I don't believe you're going to have to drive either. All entries must be postmarked by Friday, March 10th. And we'll announce the lucky winner on the air with Tom Williams on Wednesday, March 15th, right here at the Oldie Station, 98 WTRY.
WTRY's Gold Rush means more oldies back to back.
The Oldie Station. WTRY.
98 WTRY, playing non-stop solid gold. The Oldie Station, 98 WTRY, Crispy in St. Peter, and come on, babe, the Pied Piper. 20 minutes after 8 o'clock, 8:20, sunshine, 7 degrees. Bob Kovacic says, not a bad weekend at all. We'll have the full forecast from Bob in just a few moments. And what else is going on? A lot of good stuff this weekend, including Dick Bartley tonight, 7 o'clock, the original Rock and Roll Oldies show with Dick Bartley on the original Rock and Roll Oldies station. That makes sense, 98 WTRY.
You may never have to wash your cat box again.
Oh, boy, the WTRY Weather Watch Bartley, 7 and sunshine at Weather Watch 98 WTRY.
98 WTRY. Golden.
The Oldie Station, 98 WTRY. Beach Boys at 8:25.
We come.
98 WTRY, 8:28. And we're just 2 from Lou at 8:30 this morning. Going to get there dancing.
WTRY for the Capital District.
Hey, Lou, we're doing real well. A lot of people are calling up, and they've got some very unique ways of introducing your 9:30 news this morning. And you're going to get a chance to hear them at 9:30.
Not before.
Okay. Not before. No, we're gonna pick the best one and do it at 9:30 and surprise even you.
Oh, I'll bet I will be surprised.
Now, the one guy that wanted to talk about your past career in television, I told him we're not going to talk about that on the radio.
Oh,
no. Chris Warren, WTRY, the Oldie Station.
It's my secret. And I'm just going to blackmail Lou for all he's worth, and you're never going to know. It's 23 and a half before 9 o'clock. Here's Paul Anka. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. This is the exercise show of the morning here. Baby, work out. There's Jackie Wilson. He's got nothing on. What's her nose? Jane Fonda, yes. 18 before 9 o'clock with Chris. How are you this Saturday morning? We're having a good time here. It's sunshine, 7 degrees, so I got to keep moving because it's cold, that sort of thing. At 98 WTRY, I got a good hour still to come. Music from the Beatles still to come this hour. Leslie Gore standing by, Bee Gees also, and a lot more. We're still going through these days, highlights in today's history. Back in 1836 on this date, inventor Samuel Colt patented his revolver. And sometime later, I believe he also invented the gun. Favorite oldies sound best on the Capital District's original oldie station, 98 WTRY. The oldie station, 98 WTRY. How can you mend a broken heart? I don't think tape does it, no. It's 9 shy of 9 a time. Naturally enough, it's a Saturday morning with Chris. How are you? 7 and sunny on the outside. Bob Kovacic's full weekend weather forecast is coming up next. It's kind of nice. I think you'll like it. Also, some good music still to come this hour. And next hour, we're going to highlight some great music from Chicago. Mason Williams, Ringo Starr, and George Harrison will both be here individually, so that should be fun. And we'll also next hour get into some of the birthdays that are happening this day. People that you and I will probably have have a chance to meet. But anyway, we mention their names on the radio because people like that sort of thing, or there wouldn't be a People magazine and, all that stuff. Anyway, it's 98 WTRY, where we hope you'll stay around because we have your chance to win some great prizes in our 98 WTRY/Freihofers keychain contest. Listen for Tom Williams every Monday through Thursday morning at 7:20 a.m. He has a lucky keychain number and a lot more details on how you can win fabulous prizes, including a barefoot windjammer cruise, gold jewelry, or thousands of dollars $50 and other great prizes. Plus, listen every Friday for Silver Dollar Day. And what happens is you could win 98 silver dollars. These are Susan B. Anthony silver dollars from WTRY and Albany Savings Bank. You can pick up your keychain at the customer service desk at any Albany Savings Bank or at any Freihofer thrift store, including the one at 26 Henry Street in Saratoga. WTRY and Freihofer's, always as good as you remember.
When you're on participating McDonald's for complete details.
The WTRY Weather Watch for around 27. Right now, sunshine and 7 degrees at Weather Watch 98 WTRY.
WTRY 1966.
98 WTRY, Wayne Fontana and the Mindbenders. All right, you caught me. It was 1965, not 1966. Hey, I have no control over what the jingle singers sing, even though it is kind of labeled that way. 98 WTRY, Lieutenant News is coming up in just a few minutes, and we don't, did you hear me talk about this earlier? We don't have a news introduction for him at 9:30 this morning because they did some new news intros, and we don't have one made up for 9:30 this morning, so what we're doing is asking you to come up with an idea. Give us a call, 476 WTRY. We'll record you and play you just before the newscast at 9:30 this morning, and we'll make Lou a real superstar here, all right? 476 WTRY as we barefoot with Robert Parker.
Everybody. WTRY for the Capital District.
Chris Warren, WTRY, the oldie station.
Good morning, 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. How about a bunch of them to get the hour started? How about 6 oldies in a row? Does that sound good? You got it. From the oldie station, 98 WTRY. Here's Lulu. All right, everybody clap your hands now. Come on.
Now give yourself a chance.
It's all right. 98 WTRY. Sunny, breezy, cold today, going toward 22, says Bob Kabachik. We'll check his full forecast for you in just a little bit. I'm Chris Warren. We're happy to have you as a part of our Saturday morning. Sunshine and all. Here's Frankie Valli, 1967.
You're just too baby.
The oldie station, 98 WTRY, playing solid gold back to back. Let's say some happy birthdays today. Let's see, actor Jim Backus is 76.
Oh, Magoo, you done it again.
Tennis hustler Bobby Riggs is 71. Writer-producer Larry Gelbart of MASH fame is 61. Musician Tommy Newsom is 60, and he's going to party hardy tonight. Tommy is going over to the Price Chopper. He's going to watch him change the meat counter display there. And George Harrison's 46 today. Got a song by George later this hour by George. Right now, Chicago. Cha-cha-cha, I love it. 98 WTRY, 9:20, Saturday morning with Chris. 11 now on the outside with sunshine and a good day coming up. Got the full Bob Kabachik weather forecast from TV 13 meteorologist in just a few moments. First, excuse me a few moments, I have to go take care of some classical gas. The oldie station, 98 WTRY. Mason Williams, Classical Gas, going back to 68. What a year. We had some very varied music on the air back in 1968. Were you listening at that time here at 98 WTRY? I was, and I'm sure a lot of the folks tuned in at this very moment were, and you'll know where I get half of my material. 23 minutes after 9 o'clock, 9:23. Radio disc jockeys back when I was younger made a big impression on me, and that's why I'm doing this on Saturday morning for the pay that I get. Sunshine, 11 degrees, and we have the full Bob Kabachik weather forecast coming up next at 98 WTRY, where this Wednesday, John Gabriel presents Solid Gold Hump Day, our weekly all-request oldie show. You can get set to call in, request your favorite oldie just after 10 o'clock this Wednesday morning. This week, the Hump Day request show spotlights the all-time great hits of Buddy Holly. Going to be some fun. That's the Solid Gold Hump Day with John Gabriel. He's back from vacation. And all request oldies this Wednesday morning from 10 o'clock on the oldie station, 98 WTRY.
This WTRY.
The WTRY Weather Watch forecast. Currently 11 degrees and sunshine at Weather Watch 98 WTRY.
The oldie station, the station you grew up with, 98 TRY. There's a patch of snow on the ground.
98 WTRY, just a couple away from Lieutenant News and that great news intro that we've got coming up. Thanks to you. Here's Fats Domino on Blueberry Hill.
I found
the oldie station, 98 WTRY. And as we mentioned earlier this morning, we've been taking calls all morning long. We don't have a news intro ready for 9:30 this morning. They goofed when they made the new ones, Lou. So we asked the people to help us out. Are you ready for this?
Fire away.
Okay, that's exactly what we're probably going to wind up getting is fired here. But what the heck? Let's see what happens. Oh, now I really messed it up because I didn't have this button pushed here. Let's try again. Who's this?
My name is Kathy.
And Kathy, where are you calling from this morning?
I'm calling from Albany.
And you have a super-duper news intro for Lou Tinney at 9:30, right?
Right.
Go right to it.
Okay. Lou Tinney is next. We think he's the best, so stay tuned for the weather forecast.
Hey, there you go, Lou. You're on.
Now I've heard everything. Good morning. 24-hour service of WTRY for the Capital District.
Chris Warren, WTRY, the oldie station.
By the way, Lou, we've hired Kathy from Guilderland, and she's going to do all our news intros for us.
Oh, terrific.
Is that good?
That's great. All we need now is Mo and Curly.
All set, right. Thank you to everybody who called this morning. The original oldie station, 98 WTRY, one of 2 number-1 songs for Ringo back in the 70s. That one written by George Harrison, who's got a song coming up this hour as we celebrate George's 46th birthday today, because he's just such a sweet-talking guy. Here are the Chiffons. 98 WTRY with all your favorite oldies. And this guy right here, born in Liverpool, England, 46 years ago today in 1943, formed his first group, the Rebels, at age 13. Joined a couple of guys by the name of John Lennon and Paul McCartney in the Quarrymen in 1958. The rest, as you know, is history. Lead guitarist of the Beatles. And his first number-1 song, his first single release from 1971. Here's George Harrison, My Sweet Lord.